Michael W. Pleasant here. Welcome to the program. To my right, we have Gina. To her right, we have Kaisha. Let's get right to it, ladies, shall we? So the events over the weekend that happened in Virginia, obviously they are not a commentary of where we are in America with race relations, but the question still remains, will we ever move past this race issue in America? Gina, your thoughts?
Honestly, I don't think we're going to get past it completely. It's tough because I feel like, obviously it's always going to be a big issue, but then when you have the media getting involved, they hear the stories and I think they enjoy, they kind of feed off of that, and they make it into this huge thing and they go crazy. The media loves it. They play it up and I think they make it, that Charlottesville is a very small, quaint town, and the media is playing it up like it's this big, horrible place, and there's racists there everywhere, and it's really not. It's just I know it was one incident that happened during that specific time, but I think the media plays a big part in how race is being displayed. Obviously, it's not going to go anywhere. It's always going to happen, and especially now, a big issue I think is with Trump. The one thing that bothered me was, number one, it took him a while for him to even speak up about it. Usually when something happened like this, you have the president, you expect him to come out right away and make a statement, but he kind of waited.
No, he waited a couple days?
No.
I think he was there for some type of other speech.
He was there, yeah. Well, he was in like in New Jersey or something. Yeah, it's from like his private estate at a golf course or something in New Jersey. But it took him a few hours. He did send a tweet out about it, and then he actually went live and made a statement. But what he said he wasn't condemning the hatred, the bigotry from the white supremacists. He was just saying, well, both sides are to blame. It's both sides need to understand that violence is we're going to condemn not going to condemn violence. It's both sides. Many sides are at fault, and so people were kind of up in arms about that because they were expecting him to say, these white supremacists, they're going crazy. I mean, they're plowing through these counter protesters. And it's just crazy. And the fact that Trump has been very, I don't want to say indifferent, but kind of like in the middle, like he wasn't on one side or the other.
Which is usually not.
Exactly.
Take a stance.
Yeah, and I just feel like that's what bothered me. He didn't really take a side. My opinion, he should have condemned the white supremacists, and he didn't. He just said both sides are at fault.
He did not give the response that we were looking for from our commander-in-chief.
No.
And Kaisha, what are your thoughts? Will we ever move
Well,
past this?
there's several different dynamics to it. I think, again, I agree with you with media inflaming the situation with racism. But first and foremost, I think people don't attack it from the proper side because it's really not about racism. It's really about economics. So that's a whole nother story. But when we are talking about this situation as relates to Trump, I don't agree with him, but I understand people have a right to protest. And so if there wasn't an opposition there's no pushback. So sometimes people are allowed to say what they need to say. I definitely do not agree with the supremacists there. And clearly the governor of that town, of that state said, we don't want you here. And then it's really a sad day when people don't see the bigger picture and what we provide as racism when the white girl got killed. She got killed by a racist people that said they're looking out for her.
So are you saying this issue is not about race at all and it's pure economics? Because those folks that were there...
they were definitely there. I unfortunately think when people are at a lower frequency in thinking, they are coached into doing things that they should not do. And the surface is black and white, but when it all comes down to it, those are people that don't have jobs, those are people that don't have just as much as we don't. So we don't see the similarities, we only see the differences. And we concentrate on differences as opposed to the similarities.
So you're thinking in 2017, there are no race issues. You think it's purely economics?
No, I'm not saying that. I just think that we should look at the whole picture. And it's not just one side or the other, it's the whole picture. So, unfortunately, it makes us know that things can't be resolved because it's a bigger picture than just racism. It's also economics.
What are your thoughts on that, Gina? Economics and racism? Purely economics, purely racism?
I think it's one or the other.
Yeah, I can see both sides, definitely. I see both. But like you said, going back to the freedom of speech, I obviously, it's the First Amendment. That's something we are able to embrace as Americans.
And if we take that away from them, we take that away from the positive people being heard too.
That are
Which
positive,
is so
exactly.
kind of, it's like 6 in one hand, half a dozen in the other. And you should know
So
I get it
backwards.
because I'm a black woman. So it's not me.
Yeah.
It's the bigger picture.
It's the bigger picture.
And possibly because I'm an entrepreneur. So economics to me always play a factor.
Right.
So are you thinking and saying that once we, and maybe this is a double question I'm asking, once we eradicate the economic problem, because those folks that were there marching not to take down the Robert E., they didn't come there for economics. They came there so that that statue could stay up
Right.
as a testament to America of yesteryear.
Yeah.
So,
That, but it also keeps them at a certain place there as well. Like I said, it's not one or the other, but I just think that there's much more involved. I mean, you got to look at it like this. They're breeding even the children. The poor little 1-year-old had on the little garment,
And they have
touching
no
the
clue what
police.
they're doing there.
They don't know.
It's like, they just follow in their parents' footsteps.
It's taught. And I'm really not, it's just like how we talk about low income housing for black people and things like that. Most of the people that are in the KKK, I'm not saying that there's not rich ones, that's not where I'm coming from. But the majority of them are poor white people as well. They're poor white people. So it's like they infuriate and add gasoline to them feeling the pressure because it's just as many of them on welfare that they try to say is black people. In fact, I feel as though more low-income white people are on welfare than they are black people. I know it sounds crazy, especially when you go to the rural areas. There's no real black people that live there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
So who's on welfare?
Out in the far countries. And, yeah, I
I
know.
mean, look at the
So
percentages,
again,
13% of,
so what does that go back to? Economics.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, let's move on.
I just had to give you a different
That's right. That's what I mean outside the box. That's what
I know
I
you didn't expect that. I know you didn't even expect that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I know you didn't expect it from me.
Listen,
I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Your opinion is your opinion. That's why we're here. That's why we're here. There's been a war of words going on between Donald Trump and the leader of North Korea. Are we headed to war? What can come of these war of words?
I don't know what's his words, Kim Jong-un or Donald Trump.
I know.
Because they're both insane. They're both equally insane. And if it's left up to them, we wouldn't even have a world. But again, when we look at things on the surface because of where the government is being a corporation, and I don't feel like our government is truly a government, it's more of a corporation, so that's a whole other story. I think it's bad things that happen that we're not privy to and that we're not exposed to that creates these bigger things that involve countries. Like, like what's his name? Osama bin Laden.
Oh yeah.
You do realize that Little Bush and him went to college together.
Okay, all right.
So I feel like it was some personal stuff there. A lot of people don't know that. They don't understand Osama bin Laden.
They don't know the backstory.
They don't know that he owned construction companies here. He owned Snapple. It was some personal stuff. They wanted his money. And they couldn't even seize his money, so they were just coming after him for some other things. And then they wanted to build pipelines. The only thing that's in Afghanistan is poppy seed. Ain't no oil in Afghanistan. It's poppy seed. So we always see the surface of it. And for some reason, as you said in the last segment, it's media, it's propaganda. It's just to make us, it's a brainwashing effect. And what does that boil back down to?
Economics.
Economics.
Tina, what are your thoughts? Words.
I mean, I hate to say that Trump, he's obviously, people would say that he's acting like a dictator because I think both of them, Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump, they have very strong dominant personalities. They both want control. And if they lose
They're
control,
spoiled. They're
then
both
they're
spoiled
spoiled.
brats.
Yes, and they
They're
lose that
both spoiled
control. And everything that Trump is saying is going out on Twitter saying we're going to meet them with fire and fury. And Kim Jong-un's coming back saying that U.S. is going to collapse and they're going to put Japan under the sea and they're going to be met with fire and all this back and forth. And the more that Trump goes at them and saying, I'm big and bad, we're going to get you guys, it's going to piss North Korea off more and more every time. You can't reason.
They deal with short man syndrome.
You can't. I know. Sure.
They deal with Napoleonism. What is wrong with these people?
I know it's crazy. And people like that, you can't reason with them. People say, oh, you gotta come with, you gotta establish an agreement. You have to meet with him and have an agreement. He's not gonna want an agreement. He wants to bomb us. They're gonna shoot missiles in Guam. They're U.S. territory. That's what they're talking about. I mean, you can't reason with somebody like that who has that mindset that he just wants to destroy everybody but their country, and the fact that Trump keeps going at him and making these remarks, he's gonna, fire, it's gonna be like the Cold War again,
right?
Only with North Korea and us,
and hopefully it's even the Cold War, because this guy has been trying to shoot missiles because these are kids that did not know how to play nice, neither one of them. They both come from very powerful fathers that had some sort of control. And they're both very spoiled. And they don't have a sense of reality. They're kind of they think they're playing video games and people are going to come back to life. No, you're playing with people's
lives.
Their lives, and the state of the world. I mean, if you want to launch nukes and stuff, like, it will, you're this little country, like, let's be clear. And if that happens, you don't think somebody's going to just bomb you off? Even if, let's say the whole U.S., they have stuff in different places. Like, let's be clear, it's not going to just end there.
They're not, North Korea, they spend so much money on this nuclear program. And Trump keeps saying, we're going to denuke them, They spend so much money and time and effort. That's their lives. They spend more money on this program than they do on their own citizens.
Right.
They're not just going to drop it because Donald Trump says so. They're not going to say, okay, we're done.
And that goes to both of their insanity.
Yeah.
Because he's insane that you'll rather have your people hungry than to do the right thing for humanity. Not the ego, not anything, but it still all boils down to
economics.
Economics. That seems to be the sub-theme for the program today. The sub-theme.
I'm sorry.
It is though.
I'm a businesswoman, so for me, it boils down to economics, budgets. It boils down to the sustainability of work, people. So economics comes into play with everything that I do.
Let's switch gears to a gripping issue that we're facing here in the States. Unfortunately, this opiate addiction. And some new statistics were released that says over 100 folks a day die. Over 100 folks a day die from their addiction to opioids. So what are some possible solutions? How can we actually fix this? Gina, what are your thoughts?
Well, one thing I would say is we have to improve the prescribing of these drugs. It's a shame because back when during the Reagan administration, Nancy, she started that Just Say No campaign, right? And that was, to just say no to people on the streets that are trying to sell them, heroin, opioid. But the thing is now, I think more of these patients are actually they're saying no to doctors. I feel like they're coming to doctors. It's more of an issue with it's more of an issue with self-prescribing with doctors and pharmaceutical companies and on the street than buying it illegally on the street. But also, it's a shame because I feel like not just the opioid but the pharmaceutical industry. It's not. To me, it's not just about health. It's really more like a business. They treat it as a business. They're not really concerned about people's health, and especially if people pay so much money for their health insurance premiums. When they go to see a doctor for pain, they want to get prescribed what they want, And also, opioid, it's medication. It's cheaper than to have somebody send out to get physical therapy or psychiatry or anything. So it all comes. It's more, they treat it more of a business as in helping improve their health. So I think just to improve the how much of this is being prescribed to patients, really being able to crack down that. But even you can go from not just the doctor's responsibilities, but also the going back to the pharmaceutical companies. They were there was misleading information. They weren't branding it properly to make it seem like it wasn't as dangerous as it really is. So doctors they're bringing it onto the market. Doctors are prescribing it, not realizing what the effect that it has on patients that don't even have an addiction in the first place. They get addicted because they're going on this. You know, it's not.
But it's also contrary to what Nancy actually put it out there for, because when she actually put out Say No to Drugs, she really wanted it to be treated as a health condition and not just what we're doing is for prescribing.
Right.
It was more of a health awareness, more like that this is a problem as opposed to abuse. Do you get what I'm saying? Because once you get on it, you're addicted.
You're addicted.
But again, it boils down to economics. It does.
Especially that, yeah.
It does, because it's cheaper to go try to make your methamphetamines and things. Like, it's cheaper to actually do it than to be using prescribed medicine because it's so expensive. So again, unfortunately, the undertow to most problems that we have in the U.S. and globally, it boils down to economics. We go down to the common denominators. There's statistics. There's a lot of data to support exactly what I'm saying. It boils down to economics.
So that's what we should have themed this show. The economics.
The economics.
That's what we should have
I
mean, but when you look at it, it's unfortunate, but it speaks volumes to education. It speaks volumes to drug abuse. It speaks volumes to racism. It speaks volumes to every way that
it affects everything.
It just affects everything is economics. And no matter how you slice the pie, when it gets down to the lowest common denominator, it makes the most money. Because people that were on drugs, they're now saying it is a mental or health condition. So now they can prescribe these things, and now they're making more money off of it, because now the people that were on opiates have to use methadone to wean off of it. But methadone is just another form of the opioid.
And they keep prescribing. They don't care about them actually getting better.
Exactly.
You know, they just write the script.
Do you realize once they get on methadone, the prescriptions that they will never be off of it? Because even becoming a doctor, they teach them that they will never, once you are on a medication, you are normally going to be on 2 or 3 medications, and they're taught that there's no cures for anything, so they only put a Band-Aid. So that's just what a doctor is taught. They're taught there's no cure, there's no recourse after they're on medication. Normally, they're going to have another medication, and normally you don't even die from the disease or what the problem is. You die from the side effects of the medication. So what does that boil down to?
Economics. Kaisha, Gina, thank you so much for this segment. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome to Point Counterpoint. In a couple weeks, we're going to have Conor McGregor of MMA versus Floyd Mayweather Jr. of the boxing world, and there can only be one winner. Just one winner, and these ladies have 30 seconds to prove their point as to who will win. Gina, you're first.
All right, I'm going to go with McGregor, because although Mayweather is awesome, he's undefeated. McGregor, he's younger, he's bigger, he's been training, he's been working pretty much his entire life. In Mayweather, he hasn't had a fight since 2015, so I think even though McGregor, he is a UFC fighter, not specifically a boxer, I think because he's younger, he's been training still, he'll be able to take him down.
Wow, not even your full 30. You must have been getting yourself together.
I knew who's going to win.
All right.
Bet on it.
You've got
trying to make some money betting on it.
Who's going to win?
To me, there is no competition on who's going to win. Mayweather all day long. This guy trains. This is what he's bred to do, what he does. His opponent, Conor McGregor, he is an MMA fighter. So his disciplines are different than in the world of boxing, as far as I'm concerned.
So, final segment for today, LeVar Ball. We all know what he's been doing, what he's been talking about. Character indeed. So is he a loudmouth parent, or is he a marketing genius? Who went first last time? All right, so now it's Kaisha's turn first.
I personally think he's both. He's a marketing genius. He's getting ahead of the curve. You know, Michael Jordan, had he did this, he would own everything. It wouldn't have a subsidiary company with Nike, with him just getting a small percentage, where he's getting ahead of the curve, where he knows what his trajectory is going to be with his children, as well as he's just, you know, a proud dad.
Gina, 30 seconds.
LeVar Ball, I think that he's a marketing genius because he's a loudmouth. I mean, people are talking about him. He's getting his reality show. He's got his sneaker brand that he's promoting. He's viral, and we're talking about him right now. I mean, he totally is a marketing genius. People are talking about him, and I don't think people are taking his remarks seriously. I think he's just talking it's a business thing for him.
All right. Thanks for this segment. Stay tuned for the next.